Sojourner Truth's speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" delivered in 1851 at the Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio, is a powerful declaration of the intersectional struggles faced by Black women in 19th-century America. Through her direct language, personal anecdotes, and rhetorical questions, Truth challenges societal notions of gender, race, and equality. Historical context. Delivered during a time when women's rights and abolition were at the forefront of public discourse, "Ain't I a Woman?" addressed the dual oppressions of racism and sexism. Truth, born into slavery in New York, had first-hand experience of the brutal realities of enslavement, as well as the systemic inequalities faced by African American women. The speech was an unapologetic call for recognition of Black women's humanity and contributions to society. Main arguments. Truth's speech can be divided into three core arguments. 1. Challenging gender norms. Truth questions the prevailing notions of femininity, which were rooted in fragility and dependence. By citing her own physical labor and endurance, she dismantles the idea that women, particularly Black women, are inherently weaker or less capable than men. For example, she states, "I have plowed and planted, and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman?" 2. Critiquing racism. Truth highlights the exclusion of Black women from the women's rights movement, pointing out the hypocrisy of advocating for equality while ignoring racial injustices. Her repeated refrain, "Ain't I a woman?" underscores the shared struggles of all women while calling attention to the unique challenges faced by Black women. 3. Confronting misogyny in religion. Truth addresses the religious arguments used to justify women's subjugation. She references biblical stories, such as Eve's role in the fall of man, to question the logic of using religion to oppress women. She counters these arguments with wit, declaring that women's collective strength can turn the world right side up again. Key rhetorical features. 1. Repetition. The refrain, "Ain't I a woman?" is both a rhetorical question and a powerful assertion, emphasizing Truth's identity and humanity. 2. Anecdotes. Truth's references to her personal experiences as a laborer and mother make her arguments relatable and poignant. 3. Direct address. Speaking to her audience as children and friends, Truth establishes a conversational tone, drawing listeners into her arguments. 4. Humor and irony. By using wit and irony, Truth disarms her audience and exposes the absurdity of discriminatory beliefs. Analysis of "Ain't I a Woman?" Intersectionality. Sojourner Truth's speech is a landmark example of intersectional advocacy, addressing the interconnected oppressions of race and gender. At a time when white women dominated the women's rights movement, Truth's speech brought attention to the unique struggles of Black women. She challenges the narrow focus of mainstream feminism, which often excluded marginalized voices, and insists on a broader, more inclusive vision of equality. Truth's insistence on her identity as both Black and female is revolutionary. The repeated question, "Ain't I a woman?" forces her audience to confront their own biases and assumptions. By asserting her womanhood, Truth not only claims her place within the feminist movement but also critiques its failure to address racial inequities. Redefining femininity. One of the most striking aspects of Truth's speech is her redefinition of femininity. In 19th-century America, femininity was associated with delicacy, domesticity, and moral purity. Truth's experiences as a former enslaved woman and laborer stood in stark contrast to these ideals. By emphasizing her physical strength and resilience, she rejects the notion that women are inherently weak or inferior. Truth's critique extends beyond personal anecdotes to challenge societal norms. She dismantles the double standards that celebrated white women's fragility while denying Black women's humanity. Her argument highlights the ways in which race and gender intersect to shape perceptions of worth and capability. Religious and moral authority. Truth's use of religious references is particularly significant. In a deeply Christian society, biblical arguments were often used to justify women's subordination. Truth's familiarity with Scripture allows her to subvert these arguments, using religion as a tool for empowerment rather than oppression. For instance, her allusion to Eve reframes the narrative of original sin. Instead of accepting women's culpability, she suggests that women's collective power can bring about transformation and redemption. This reinterpretation challenges patriarchal interpretations of Scripture and reclaims religious authority for women. Rhetorical power. Truth's speech is a masterclass in rhetorical strategy. Her conversational tone makes her arguments accessible, while her use of repetition and rhetorical questions ensures her message resonates. By drawing on personal experiences, she grounds her critique in lived reality, making it difficult for her audience to dismiss her points. The humor and irony in her speech serve to disarm her audience and expose the contradictions in their beliefs. For example, when addressing the argument that women cannot have rights because Christ was a man, she quips, "Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him." This clever rebuttal underscores the illogical nature of using religion to deny women's rights. Legacy and impact. Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman? Remains a foundational text in feminist and anti-racist discourse. Its enduring relevance lies in its ability to address multiple forms of oppression simultaneously. Truth's speech paved the way for intersectional feminism, challenging movements to consider how race, gender, and class intersect to shape experiences of inequality. The speech also serves as a reminder of the power of voice and storytelling. Truth's ability to speak truth to power, despite societal limitations, inspires generations of activists and advocates. Her words resonate in contemporary discussions about representation, equity, and inclusion. Critiques and limitations. While Ain't I a Woman? Is celebrated for its intersectional insights, it is important to note that the speech was not transcribed verbatim. Different versions exist, and the most popular rendition was written by Frances Dana Barker Gage, a white abolitionist, nearly a decade after the convention. This raises questions about authenticity and the ways in which Truth's words may have been shaped to fit particular narratives. Nevertheless, the essence of Truth's message remains clear and impactful. Her speech captures the urgency of addressing systemic inequities and serves as a call to action for inclusive advocacy. Conclusion. Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman? Is a timeless critique of racism and sexism, delivered with rhetorical brilliance and moral clarity. By challenging societal norms, redefining femininity, and advocating for intersectional equality, Truth's speech remains a cornerstone of feminist and anti-racist thought. Its legacy endures as a powerful reminder of the importance of amplifying marginalized voices and addressing the interconnected nature of oppression.